Hello everyone, welcome back. We are learning subject Organizational Behavior, Unit 4 Organizational Systems and Culture. Let us start. Organizational structure. Organizational structure is the way in which tasks, responsibilities and authority are arranged in an organization. So in organization, in a company, there are different structures. That means how work is done, how things are divided, and what kind of work is done by who is reporting to whom. So these are the structures in a company, or how the work flows in the organization. For example, now manager is there. Manager's work is to give the instruction. Next, team leader. Team leader manages the team, and what employee do? They do the actual work, right? So this is the structure of an organization. Next is different types of structures. First is functional structure. So here employees grouped based on functions, like employees are divided based on their departments. Like there are different departments in a company, right? HR department, marketing department, finance, technical department, so many are there, right? So they are divided based on that departments. Next is divisional structure, based on products, regions or markets. So depending on what product they are designing, or depending on what product they are working on, or in which region they are working, it is divided in that way. Next comes matrix structure. So this is the combination of both functional and divisional. So what happens here, if employee is working, this employee has to report to two bosses or two leaders. So one will be from the divisional structure, one will be from the functional structure, like functional manager and project manager. In functional structure there will be departments, right? So this employee has to report to the department head, as well as divisional structure will be having product or area wise leaders, right? So this person has to report to them as well. So this is the matrix structure. Now, importance of this organizational structures, it clarifies roles and responsibilities. So if there are different departments, you know clearly what work is done by whom, right? It improves coordination and also it helps in smooth workflow. Example, a company having separate HR and finance departments. What is the conclusion? A good structure ensures efficient management and communication. So if there are different structures, then you will be able to work properly. You know what to do, when to do, whom to report, whom to ask help, right? So all things will be going on smoothly and effortlessly. Next is organizational culture. Organizational culture is a system of shared values, beliefs and practices followed in an organization. So in simple terms, it means how work is done in a company. So every company has different cultures, right? And different like work is the same, but it is done in different way. So characteristics are shared values, rules and norms, work environment, behavior patterns. So in every company there are different rules and norms, right? And the values will be different, work environment will be different. And there are types of cultures: strong culture, weak culture. Strong culture means employees follow values strictly. So whatever rules and norms are there, employee has to follow strictly. They do not have any say there. Weak culture means there is less influence on the employees. That means that employees may or may not follow all those rules and regulations. Next is importance of culture, shapes employees' behavior. So for example, in a company, if there are similar rules, same rules for everyone, and they'll be following that will if everyone are following same rules, obviously they'll be behaving in same way, right? So this shapes employee behavior. It also improves commitment and creates identity for the organization. If all the employees are working in similar fashion, like according to the rules and the guidelines of the company, so it will create an image for that company or that organization. Example, a company encouraging teamwork and innovation. And what's the conclusion here? Culture plays a major role in organizational success. Next is organizational climate. Organizational climate is overall atmosphere or feeling experienced by employees at the workplace. So in simple terms, what employees feel there. Okay, how employees are feeling in that organization is organizational climate. So how does this affect? The factors affecting climate are leadership style. So if a leader is talks good and encourages all the team members, that creates positive environment, and that also creates positive climate there. Communication, work environment, policies, depending on this, the climate is created, whether it is positive, negative, and depending on that, the employees feel happy, sad, and whatever. So if there is friendly environment, employees feel happy. If there is strict employment, employees feel stressed out. Okay. Now if there is supportive boss, that creates positive environment. And if there is poor communication, not everybody do not like to talk to everyone, or do not help, are not friendly, then that creates negative climate. Importance, affects employee satisfaction, influences productivity. See, for example, if employee is working happily, it will automatically increases their productivity. If employee feels happy, they work better and the productivity increases, and also it affects the whole organization. Okay, and also employee becomes satisfied, right? Next example, friendly environment gives better performance, and conclusion, positive climate leads to better employee performance. See, there is difference between organizational culture and organizational climate. In culture, we are seeing how things are done in culture, and in climate we are seeing how it feels to work there. So remember this difference. Okay, in culture how things are done, in climate how we feel in that organization. Next is organizational change. Organizational change refers to any modification in structure, technology, or people in organization. So any change in a company is organizational change, right? So there are different types of changes. So changes can be because of technology, structure, or people. There are different types of changes, right? Structural change, technological change, behavioral change. So structural change means if there is different departments. See, there will be different departments in a company or organization, right? And if new department is made or created, then we say it is structural change, because the structure will be changed, right? Next comes technological change. If new technology comes into the market, everyone has to learn that technology, so the changes will come there as well. Next is behavioral change. If new employees join in a company, they have to learn particular skills according to that company and the work they will be doing there. So that is behavioral change. Or if any new skills come into the market, the employees working there should learn those. So that is behavioral change. Now reasons for these changes are competition, technology, market demand. See, when technology changes, or for example, if you're a organization and producing some product, and there is another organization which creates the same product with same efficiency, then there will be competition. Like a customer will be having different choices, right? So that will create the competition among them. And when technology changes, obviously there will be reason to change an organization. Next, market demand. Because of demand of your product or any other thing in the market, the change will occur. Importance, helps organization grow, improves efficiency, keeps company updated. So if changes are done timely, then that will help companies grow. See, when you are updated with all the new technologies and what are the things that are happening in the market, that will help organization to grow, and also it will improve efficiency. Like you will know what other company is doing, what they are learning new things, what new skill is coming in the market. So when you'll adapt all those things, obviously your efficiency will be increased, and it keeps company updated as well. For example, introducing new software in a company. Conclusion, change is necessary for growth and survival, right? Next is resistance to change. Resistance to change is the opposition shown by employees towards organizational changes. So in simple terms, resistance means unwillingness. Like I do not want to do anything. That is resistance. So in a company there will be people or employees who are resistant to change, like who do not want to change, who do not want to adapt. And the reasons for this are fear of unknown, job security, lack of trust and habit. So you don't know, see, when you are changing, obviously there will be some kind of fear because it is uncertain, right? We don't know what will happen next, so that creates fear. And also job insecurity, lack of trust. When you do not have trust on the organization, obviously you not want to change them. And also because of habit, some people do not adapt easily according to the situations. Now overcoming this resistance, how we can overcome this feeling of resistance? By proper communication. See, for in an organization, if new technology comes, and how we can make them to learn that? By proper communication, by explaining the need and benefit of this change. See, if you tell them that, after this changes, this will be the benefits, obviously that employee will learn. And also participation in what? In decision making. If in an organization employee is felt important, so if the employees are given that chance to make decision, then they will be feeling important and they will also change according to the company. Next is training. By giving proper new skills, they can overcome the resistance. And also by providing support, emotional support can help adjust the employees easily. Example, employees resisting new technology. Conclusion, proper management reduces resistance. Next is stress management. Stress is the mental or physical pressure experienced by individuals. So most of us have experienced stress at least once, I think. And cause of this stress is work overload, time pressure, conflict, job insecurity. So when there is a lot of work, you get stressed, you feel stressed. When there is less time, you feel stressed. When there are things that are happening not according to you, then you'll feel stressed. When there is job security, you feel stressed. So what will happen when you are stressed? Low productivity. See, when you are thinking so much, see, stress is caused by overthinking, right? So when you are thinking so much about something, that will lead to less concentration, less focus, and that will reduce your productivity. You will be not able to do that work properly. And also this will affect your health negatively, which will also lead to poor performance in whatever work that you are doing. Now there are stress management techniques, how you can manage your stress. First is time management. See, we know people around us who are always in hurry but always late. So if they learn time management, they'll not be stressed, obviously. Next is relaxation. By relaxing, your stress will be reduced. Next is by proper exercises. Counseling means talking to someone also reduces stress. Example, taking breaks to reduce work stress. Conclusion here is managing stress improves employee well-being and performance. So if this stress is managed properly, that will help employee to work properly, and also that will improve their performance, which will lead to improving performance of the organization as well. Okay, so this is all about Unit 4. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye. See you in the next video.